Hey guys, welcome to BrickVault. This is Mike, and today I've got the review for you of the long-awaited UCS Y-Wing. That is set number 75181. Inside we have 1967 parts, and the age recommendation for this one is 14 years plus. Right off the bat, I will say that this set simply looks excellent. The amount of gribbling is simply insane. I gotta say that is some Millennium Falcon level right there. I mean, the amount of those details, if those pipes and small brown parts, you can see the droid in there, even the connection with the cockpit area and the engines especially are something that I was really positive about. I love the build and every single bit of it just felt the right way, and I think the designers felt the same way and they did deliver. In this review, I'll be comparing the ship to various other Y-Wings that we have in our studio and also some other cool mocks that I think are appropriate to compare to. And before we jump into the further details, I just want to say that you guys can always leave a like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoy our content like this. And don't forget to hit that notifications button, because that bell is magical and it tells you every time we upload a video. Alright, let's get into the review. As you can see, the box kept that same art style from the Millennium Falcon, so people loved this black finish, and it continues towards this set. A nice font used for the descriptions, the graphic stands out on this black background, and the interior box that keeps most of the parts also has this wireframe design that we first seen on the Millennium Falcon boxes. This one was kept and looks excellent, with a really nice quote saying "We're starting our attack run," a famous line from the scene where the Y-Wings appear in the original trilogy. Also, I think the manual deserves its own bit in this review, because not only it's a very well printed book, but yep, we have some of the pages in the very front saying a few words about the model designer, that is Jordan David Scott. Also, there is a mention of the graphic designer behind the set, Madison O'Neill, and I think the director that was behind this project and directing the guys. This guy was Jens Kronvold Fredriksen. When it comes to the looks of the ship, you can definitely tell that they did not cut any corners. You can see a lot of the source material used for this one. They looked at the pictures or even models from the original trilogy very closely, and it pays off. Every single bit of this ship is detailed in some sort of way. The thing that stands out is the top of the ship, with a lot of stuff on it, a lot of hydraulics and whatnot. You know, this is a stripped off version of the Y-Wing, meaning no armor compared to the one that they first had in the Clone Wars. This one was just stripped off everything that was providing weight to make sure they can carry even more payload, and also maintaining heavy shields. The engines look excellent, and I'm gonna get into that in a real quick second, but I gotta say that none of details of this ship disappointed me in any sort of way. Everything looks great, and especially that applies towards the cockpit as well. The cockpit area is awesome in that way that it also holds no studs technique at the very bottom of the cockpit, so you can see it looks great from actually all angles. This technique used here was something I and Jack were really surprised when checking out the build, and it paid off. It does look excellent. I was expecting some studs to be here, but no, all these beautiful slopes are just masterfully placed to create this very sleek look. As you look at the top, you can see the sleek shape continues. The stickers used here, yes, there are some stickers in the set, but as you can tell, they are not very distracting. The stickers just create those small arches in here that go along those tile lines, and this piece right here, there's a sticker on this side, but it doesn't really distract from how the Gold Leader's ship should look like. And it's great use of stickers. I wasn't really minding this at all. There's one more sticker on the side of the windshield. You can also barely see it's a sticker if you apply it correctly. The color is matching, and the shaping just adds a nice little detail right there. The ion turret looks actually pretty good. I like the compact design here, and this has a function. You can actually move it. There's a small cog in the back. When you turn it around, you can actually see the turret moving. So a hidden function, excellent way of portraying this. Kind of connects well with the rest of the gripping of the ship. You can see this cog doesn't really stand out, and that's all you need to move it around. It's very smooth. There is a gear connection point inside the cockpit, and actually there is no problem moving it. It works great as it is supposed to. The cockpit itself is, for me at least, and I think Jack could agree with that, a piece of small art. You can see the targeting system, you can move it up and down just like in the movie. There are some stickers in here, but they don't really distract you from the excellent looks of it. You can see that it is just a small amount of controls here, but nothing major. And actually the balance between the use of stickers, the fulliness, if I may, of the cockpit and the simpleness of the build is perfect. The balance is great, and I think there is nothing else to do here to make it look even better. The pilot fits comfortably inside the cockpit, but you gotta remember that this is not minifigure scale. So he kind of feels a bit small for the size of this cockpit, because I think this ship is like over 1.2, 1.5 size of a minifigure scale Y-Wing. Also, taking a closer look at that gribbling, I like that it is somewhat mixed between asymmetrical and symmetrical builds. Asymmetrical being this, for example, area in the middle of the ship. You can see there is some equipment here that looks different than this side, so I like this detail, it was excellent. Some whip part in the middle to show some hydraulic hoses, whatnot, maybe a fuel pipe of some sorts. And the symmetrical building, however, goes onto the pylons of the ship. You can see the engines are symmetrical, and same goes for the area that connects the engine to the whole fuselage. And I like this, I really like this. There's the hyperdrive in the back, a very bulky feel, a very bulky chunk of the build. This is an excellent design for those, radiator or heating pipes of some sorts that hold the hyperdrive unit. And this is the part that I loved the most, the engines. Jack was building them, and I told him that you will be surprised, and he actually was. As first we do build this kind of like a square piece in the middle, then we add panels of gribbling on each side of the ship, and then there's a whole build for those housing or just pylons in the back that hold the thrust nozzle. And one more cool detail here is the directional, let's say, wings. I don't know how to call them, but these are steering wings actually. There's a great design for these, and something you learn every day, those are used to actually steer the ship. You just direct the thrust, you direct the exhaust from those massive engines, and that's how the ship actually turns. This is actually very accurate because that's how it goes in, well, modern jets, if I may. You have the directional nozzle of the jet engine, and pretty much this is the same thing, just in a spaceship. And I think that's a great design part, and it shows how much of the source material the designer did take on while designing this beautiful, beautiful vessel. The only part that people did not like were the front of those engine pylons. The use for those things to connect with this white dome that's very iconic for the ship was not the best for many people, but hey, with the overall excellence of the whole build, I don't think that is the matter. I think they look great. In original concept, I just snapped this one off, can I put it back in? There you go. In the original concept, those actually are a bit more canted, connect with those domes more than they do in this set. But I really don't see a way that it would be better than that it is right now. It's a very tricky piece of detail that was supposed to be recreated in the best possible way. And I think the compromise between how it actually looks on the model from the film and how they made it on this ship is great. I think the compromise is great, and it doesn't distract from the overall great looks at all whatsoever. And just one more quick note on those engines. First, the design here with those fins or tusk pieces is really great. You will love the way it's built. But also I like this connection point in the back. This thing here, it's using those T-pieces with some technique on one side of it. It's a very specific technique that they used here, and it goes along towards the body of the ship. And once you build it, you will know what I'm talking about. It was this part when I many times said, whoa, this is the best use of piece, I think, for the entire model. Also, the ship is sporting landing gear. It is in a form of a quite fragile but very good looking elements of those skis, if I may. Landing gear in the front retracts like that, and the landing gear on the back is actually hiding in those engine pylons. So there you go, there is one here and also one on the other side. Let me see if I can reach that. There you go. So that's your landing gear. And it is actually accurate to the film because that's how the ship lands, two support beams on the left and right engine and one main support landing front gear just behind the cockpit area. The landing gear works as intended. When landed, the ship looks excellent, just being a bit off the ground, which is the way it looks in the films. As we are at it, let's take a look at the stand and the minifigures. First, the minifigs. This is the Gold Leader. The Gold Leader minifigure in this set is portraying John Vander, aka Dutch, a pilot who flew as the Gold Leader in the Battle of Yavin. Interesting story behind him: he was used to be an Imperial pilot and deflected after receiving an order to bomb rebel-friendly areas of his home planet. Now, I guess he was having his payback, flying the Y-Wing into the Death Star. The minifigure's quality is top-notch as usual with Rebel pilots. He of course gets the unique helmet with olive green elements for him. That was the only helmet that he was ever wearing and makes it unique only to him. You can also see the life support system and a lot of cool jumpsuit or flight suit details on the legs, along with the strap that holds him in the seat position. He comes with a small blaster pistol and two face expressions, both having his visor imprint on them. Of course, a really cool minifigure to have and keeps the tradition of having a unique Rebel pilot in most of the Rebel UCS sets. Gold Leader's Astromech Droid is the R2BHD, and this guy first time comes in mostly silver finish that goes for the legs and the head with a print matching those colors very nicely. The main body is in dark bluish grey color with light bluish grey finish for the Astromech Droid's details. A really cool unique Astromech of course, and expands our collection with a very nice touch, and of course makes up for the accurate representation of this droid in this set. The stand is also a part of this set that is very well made. A simple design, but hey, it works in a very proper way, holds the ship very nicely, and as you can see, you can bend it a bit so that the Y-Wing is actually flying in this sort of a attack angle on the side, or you can straighten it up if you want to. Very nice function here, nothing much else to say. We have of course the UCS plaque saying all the cool details about the ship. That's the BTL A4 Y-Wing Starfighter, all the cool technical details that many of you love to know about. The speed, the armament, and of course the graphic behind it, which just stands together with all the other UCS stickers. And with all that crazy gribbling and details and very nice building techniques of this set, this is still very solid and sturdy. You can take it off easily off the stand. You can grab it by pretty much any part you want. There is no fear of this thing breaking. The engines are being held by a very long Technic axles, so you can still disconnect them. You can see I can take it off easily. You can see the connection point, but once you slide them in, you can have as much fun as you want with it. Nothing is going anywhere. The only thing I would recommend, of course, don't grab by the back of the engines, just the sheer weight of it will break it, maybe even snap it, so be careful on that. But other than that, anything works. You can hold it right here, you can hold it right here, you can even hold it by the cockpit. You can see nothing is even bending, just even a bit. So that is an excellent sturdiness test, and I think with the stand that it connects very solidly, boom, and you have yourself not only a very great display model, but also there is no fear of breaking anything on this guy. As part of the summary of this review, I want to compare the newest UCS Y-Wing to other ships that are relevant to this guy in our studio. Namely, we have two other Y-Wings and a TIE bomber that is part of our MOX collection or web store. And this guy is of course the Imperial equivalent of the bomber class ship that the Y-Wing is. First, as you can see, the UCS Y-Wing is quite big for what it is, and I don't really mind. I mean, I think UCS models has to be a bit bigger to just represent the awesome details of those ships, so the gribbling here, as you know, just pays off in this scale. The one next to it is our custom MOG. It's not our design, but it was in the studio for a while now, and this is an excellent model. It is minifigure scale, so you can see how that size compares. It doesn't have as much gribbling as the newest UCS, so the official model still wins on that one. It's a very good looking, but still not the sturdiest of all the ships. It looks great, but the size difference, the comparison is quite visible here. The one in the back is the Rogue One Y-Wing. This one came out as a set in last year. We loved it. I think it was one of the best sets in that wave. It doesn't have as much gribbling. It's super solid. Let me see if I can grab it. You can see this one is super light, but feels like a proper playset. For a Y-Wing, it's really hard to make a playset that younger fans won't break. This one will not break. Honestly, you can even grab it by the engines if you wish. Oh, I dropped a bomb there. It had the really cool bombing function. It felt great as a playset. You can toss it, you can play with it. Nothing much will break. So that was an excellent also comparison model, but it's smaller than minifigure scale. It mostly plays out as a very good playset. And the bomber that we have in our store is a perfect minifigure scale. So you can see, it's the first time for me to see how actually these two compare if they were facing each other in a battle. So the Y-Wing still feels a bit bigger. I'm comparing this minifigure scale to this one. That's the bomber, and the UCS one is even bigger. So I would say it's like 1.3, 1.5 over minifigure scale, if you see at it that way. And definitely not compliant on this one. I think it's a great scale to have, but just a heads up, just an information bit for you guys who are going for minifigure scale mostly, and that I think you guys have to understand that most UCS sets are going way bigger. I don't think if I wanted to be minifigure scale, some of these ships in UCS form were also minifigure scale, like the Slave 1 or the Lambda shuttle. I think the Y-Wing is working a bit even better in bigger scale than minifigure, just because of the amount of gribbling you can add to pretty much show it off. And to summarize that set, I can't say anything else than only good things about it. Honestly, I was trying to find flaws, but maybe, I don't know, the only flaw might be that it's not minifigure scale, but again, I think that at this level of detail that this ship is requiring to show, this scale is just perfect. This set just pays off the homage to the beautiful model in the most proper way. It's a great display piece. I will be proudly displaying it in our studio. Definitely something that we're never giving away. Charlie got the snowspeeder for his office last year, and the snowspeeder was actually the same designer that was working on the Y-Wing, and we are not giving this away. This is gonna stay in the office. It's gonna be a centerpiece somewhere close to the Falcon. Even though it's not minifigure scale, it will make some smiles on our faces every day we enter the studio. So if you guys are still thinking about getting this, maybe trying to replace the old Y-Wing with that one, this is the way to go. I think the old Y-Wing is just inferior to this one. This is the superior version in every possible way, starting with the ship, to the even stand, and the selection of two awesome minifigures that were connected to this particular ship as the gold leader of the Yavin Death Star attack. Really cool stuff, and I'm definitely recommending it. Hey, thanks for watching this video. As always, you can leave a like and subscribe. And also, if you want to support our channel, you can head over to our web store at www.brickvault.toys. You can find awesome models there. All these guys that I have on the table are available in the forms of instructions and parts lists. Every purchase you make supports our channel and also the designers that are working with us on those amazing models. So consider doing that. Thanks so much, and it was Mike. I'll see you again on BrickVault.